Hello everybody and welcome to the Little Fella Sports Podcast. And as you can see, we're live here today. We're here to discuss about the Premier League fixtures, which are set to kick off in just about 1.5 hours. So there's a lot of interesting and exciting games for this week. It's been a few days since we actually spoke with the Premier League on this channel. There's been a few unforeseeable circumstances due to which we couldn't really put up some videos regarding the Premier League. But then in this period, there have been some very interesting results, some outstanding games of football, and I think what happened in the last couple of weeks has set up a very exciting week of football ahead. And to discuss about this week, I've got Aswin and Shreyas with me. So welcome, guys.
I
Thank you to be here.
All right, guys. So we'll be first starting off with the first fixture of the game week. Obviously we've got Crystal Palace against Liverpool. Palace will be hosting Liverpool at Selhurst Park today, and Palace are actually in a pretty decent run of form. They got a result against Spurs last weekend. They played really well, especially in the second half, and they got a midweek draw against West Ham at the Olympic Stadium. So I think Palace are in a pretty good position. Of course, Liverpool, they had an outstanding midweek win against Spurs. That must have given them a lot of confidence, because considering that it was pretty much a top two clash against Spurs, and the manner in which they won with a very late 90th minute winner, I think they'll be in a very good shape going into this game. So what do you guys make of this game? So Shreyas, starting off with you, what do you make of Palace against Liverpool? We have to remember that Liverpool are in fact 17th when it comes to the form table of the away form. But what do you make of this game, and how do you see it going?
yeah, I mean, first of all, Palace played really well versus Spurs. I mean, frankly, I expected it to be a nil-nil, like bus park between Mourinho and Roy Hodgson. But the link up between Easy and Zaha was so beautiful to watch, and Palace actually dominated the game for the most part versus Spurs. So I think they are a good side. I mean, they're capable of doing things against Liverpool, and it will be a good game to watch. I don't think it will be one-sided to Liverpool, but yeah, let's see. I mean, even Klopp, if he wins this game, he'll slightly be comfortable with respect to the league position as well. I think this means a lot to Liverpool actually than to Palace, because of basically if he manages to win it, they'll have a great momentum going forward. I think they have slightly easier fixtures coming up, but anyway, I expect to be a tough and evenly contested game, but Liverpool to edge ahead. You're on mute.
Yeah. So as you said, obviously it's a very big game for Liverpool. Liverpool got a positive result against Spurs, but then their away form's been very patchy. They obviously had that horror defeat against Aston Villa at the start of the season, and even in general, they've dropped points against the likes of Brighton, against Fulham even last week. They probably were lucky to get away with the draw, if anything. So I think Liverpool will be very keen to make sure that they get on a proper away run, because they'll know that obviously we're not sure as to what kind of title race will be this year, but Liverpool are obviously front runners, and they'll want to make sure that they continue to extend the lead at the top, because at the moment they've got a 3 point lead over Spurs, and obviously United, for example, have played one game less, but if they play that one game, they'd be 2 points of Liverpool. So it's a very tight race as things stand. So Ashwin, how do you expect this game to go, and what are your predictions for this game?
As both analysts said, Liverpool have not been at their dominating best this season. Rest of the teams have also played really well. Crystal Palace have played some really good football. Eze has lightened up the league. He has been very good signing for Crystal Palace. So I expect a very close game. We are talking about title race and other teams because Liverpool have been dropping points, and as Chelsea and United fans, I think we hope that to continue. And today is a very good game where Liverpool might lose points, as Shreyas said. Like they have a very easy run of fixtures coming ahead. And Crystal Palace away has a tough game, especially the way Liverpool are playing. They are not at their dominating best. So I expect a close game, and I'm hoping for a draw. But still, I expect Liverpool to slightly edge ahead and get a 3-2 win Is what my
Yeah, I mean, obviously Liverpool's issues are mainly in the defense because they've obviously lost the likes of Van Dijk and Gomez, and they're playing Fabinho, Matip, or a couple of youngsters, the likes of Reece Williams or Nat Phillips. So obviously their Achilles heel is definitely in defense. Obviously they will miss Diogo Jota, who's ruled out for the next few months. But I think it's definitely going to be one of those games which will not be easy for Liverpool at all because Selhurst Park is always a tough place to go to. And I think there won't be fans this week. I think obviously there's no fans in London right now, so I think that won't there won't be a real positive for Palace. But I actually think Liverpool will drop points again this year. I mean, sorry, this week. I think the quality which Palace have in the final third with the likes of Wilf Zaha, Eze, who's been outstanding in his first season of the Premier League, and even the likes of Jordan Ayew, who's a very, very accomplished striker. So I think Liverpool will drop points today. So I hope I'm right, and we'll see what happens. So moving ahead, we have got a very, very exciting game. I'm honestly very, very excited for this game. So Southampton versus Manchester City. So Southampton, obviously, they're flying very high in the Premier League. They're currently third in the table, and they've had a brilliant start to the season. There's been no question about some of the football they played is outstanding, and they're looking really, really sharp. About Manchester City, you generally associate City to be very free flowing, scoring a lot of goals, and if anything, their Achilles heel is defense. But then it's not been like that this season. They've had a pretty solid record when it comes to defending. They've kept a number of clean sheets, but the issue has mainly been in front of goal. In 12 games, they've scored only 17 goals, I think, and that's pretty unheard of because City are a team known to score a lot of goals. They win games by threes and fours, and this has not been a season where Guardiola's men have been able to stamp their authority and go ahead and dominate games the way they've done in the last 2 or 3 years. So I think this is going to be a really, really exciting game. Hassan will be coming up against Guardiola, and their philosophies more or less clash against each other. Also because City like to be a dominant team playing out with possession, whereas Southampton are a very front foot based team which who like to press a lot, and they'll definitely cause problems to City in my opinion. So Shreyas, coming over to you, how do you expect this game to go, and what are your predictions?
Yeah, as you told, Southampton are a really good side in my opinion. I mean, their manager is fantastic, Ralph Hasenhüttl. After, I mean, he didn't have a really good start at Southampton per se. He lost 9-0 to Leicester, and I mean, that was a really tough blow to anyone. So to come back from that and basically he believed in his plan and it's working now. They're playing really well and they're pressing hard, as you told. And it will be a tough test for City. And even if you see City, uh, for the teams who are pressing against them, they tend to lose the ball quite a lot. I mean, they had a good defense in 2017 and all, but now with Fernandinho not playing that much and Rodri, I don't think he's that good a backup for him. So he looks suspect so far, at least in the Premier League. And yeah, I expect City to drop points this game. So that's what my
I,
prediction is.
I
I
actually
expect a
concur.
2-2 draw. So yeah,
Yeah, I concur with you. I think this is not a game City will enjoy playing because Southampton are a team which will come at your faces. They'll be unrelenting, and they'll be a team which will definitely take the game to the opposition. So I think City would rather play against a team who would probably sit back and allow them to dominate. But Southampton with their style and the energy they display, I think it'll be a really tough game. And away from home, I honestly believe that Southampton could even win this game, but I think it'll be a draw personally. So Ashwin, what are your predictions for this game?
As far as City is concerned, I think one of the main reasons City was successful in the previous season was because most of the teams lost it mentally even before the game started against City. If you see the 100-point City or the season where they edged Liverpool by 1 point, teams usually sit back and like they expect a lot of pressure from City. They expect to soak the pressure and look for a counter, and before you know it, under 30 minutes they are they're 2 goals down and they're just looking to limit the damage. But as we've seen as a general trend in the Premier League this season, more teams are attacking. I think football has been pretty good from all the teams this season. There are very few teams in the Premier League that are set up to sit back and soak the pressure. So that has been one of the main reasons why City they are not able to score that many goals this season. And I think it will be something pretty similar against Southampton. Southampton again has been one of those teams who have revolutionized the play style. they are a team that field 6-7 attacking players. For a mid-table team to do that is pretty rare. And they have a very working system as well. Like they score a lot of goals, and with the main man Danny Ings back, I expect Southampton to do very good. I expect a 2-2 draw against City.
Yeah, I think all of us expect Southampton to take it. Just,
One thing, do you think Pep will be sacked or something
no, I wanted to
if he
come to that.
loses
I
this?
was about to come to that. Not about
Yeah,
talking about sack or anything, but he obviously signed a contract a few weeks back. But I think there's a case of genuine, let's say, tiredness. I think Pep is a very intense manager. They've been under him for the past 3-4 years now, and at some point you wonder whether the players really respond to him anymore. It's not that they don't play for him or anything, but it gets
yeah.
really tiring at that point. And to play his style of football, you need to be at your absolute best. And maybe the fact that they're not mentally switched on. It's a very tough season for every Premier League club at the moment because there's a lot of games and they're all being played in a very let's say shortened period of time. So it's a tough task definitely. But I think there is a case of fatigue here definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, however great the manager is, I don't think you like. There is a saturation point, right? So I think Pep has reached that saturation point, and
Exactly. I think
yeah, we'll see.
and in
It's a
modern
tough road for
football,
us from here.
yeah, they either need to be refreshed when it comes to the
Yeah.
playing personnel, or maybe they need a new voice. But I think that's something we'll have to look at towards the end of the season. But it's not been the greatest of starts for Manchester City. You don't associate with where they are usually and the way they're playing also. Moving on, we'll be next talking about the one of the games of the week, in my opinion, Manchester United against Leeds United. Obviously, United had an outstanding win in the midweek. They played Sheffield United. It was not the greatest of starts. Again, we United again conceded a goal, and then again for the sixth time in a row came back from one goal down, and with that they've got 11 away wins in a row. It's a record in United history and even in Premier League history. 11 away wins in a row is a pretty ridiculous run, and they've not lost a game away from home since January at Anfield. So it's away from home. United are doing really well, but I think the issues are clearly at home. They've not had the greatest of starts at home. We've scored only 2 open play goals, and our only win against at home came against West Brom in a very drab game. So but this game definitely promises to be a very exciting one because you have to consider that United are a team that loves to counter attack. They're at their best when they counter attack, and Leeds are a team which will definitely try and come on the front foot. So it'll be a case of two teams trying to go at each other. One team trying to dominate possession, the other team trying to catch out the other team on the break, finding spaces in behind their defense. So this definitely promised to have a lot of goals. So Shreyas, how do you expect United to how do you expect United to go ahead, and how do you expect them to respond to this week's challenge?
Yeah. So I think this will be an exciting game considering the rivalry that Leeds and United have. Leeds and of course Manchester United. I mean, so yeah. I mean, we don't know that late, right? We were born in the 90s, and we haven't seen that much of Leeds United.
Yeah, it's been
To be
16
very
years
honest, but
since they've
yeah.
been.
So that will be really great to watch. I mean, if there are fans inside the stadium, it will be even
Exactly.
fantastic. But yeah, good to see them back. And I mean, I like Bielsa very much. I mean, his football is really entertaining. And yeah, of course, the plan for United that I think that Oli will go with is classic. We'll obviously set up with 4-3-3 and will rather than keeping much of possession, I think we'll try to counter attack. I think
One
we've seen,
interesting fact I actually
yeah,
saw yesterday: Leeds have had more than 50% possession in each of their games against every team. They played at Anfield, they played at Stamford Bridge, they played Manchester City at home. Teams who would generally dominate possession, but still Leeds have managed to have
that
more possession in each of the games. So I think there's no surprises if United get out dominated in
that
terms
might
of possession.
actually play to our advantage. I think because
Exactly.
yeah, as Daya told, the first place build up is really slow for
So
United, so they can maybe
exactly.
capitalize.
Capital.
So
At the
yeah,
same time, United may try to do what they did against Sheffield United because
yeah,
if you notice the difference in that game, we clearly, whether it was planned or not, we tried to exploit their high line. we saw a number of runs by the likes of Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood, and that was one thing we definitely tried in terms of playing in transitions. So that's something I think United and Solskjaer will definitely look into, because Leeds are a team which will definitely give you space to work with, and if you're very smart, the way Chelsea did at Stamford Bridge, you can definitely create a number of chances and score goals against them. I think it definitely promised to be a very exciting game. What are your predictions for this game, Shreyas?
Yeah, I expect 3-2 for United. I think they'll surely score a goal or two, surely. I mean, we can't be that defensively solid. Having seen Manchester United for the past 6 months, I don't think we can restrict the scoring. Yeah, I expect Rashford to turn up and score two or more goals. I mean, he looked really well the last match. So I don't think for any Man United player there is a run of form or something, because you don't know which Man United will turn up, right? I mean, one day they're shit and one day they're really good. So yeah, so I hope there'll be a 3-2 win for now. Yeah, for Man
Yeah,
United.
one of the things we're all very excited to, as United fans, is to see how long we can maintain this run. As things stands, if we win our game in hand against Burnley, we'd be 2 points off the title. I think at say Christmas period, if you'd offered any United fan, especially after the transfer window we had, which was nothing short of an absolute disappointment, if you'd told that you'd be 2 points off the top, I think any United fan would have been absolutely delighted with that. So I think it's a case of how long we can stay there, and in a case of how long United can really put up with the pressure also, because there will be pressure as you get closer towards the prime part of the season, how long United could be there. So I think it's too hard to say whether it's a top four race or a title race or what kind of race it is. I think the key for United at the moment is, as you can say, is clearly go on a winning run, continue to perform. I think every game, every point matters at this situation. I think more than performances at this point, it's about points, because there's a number of games. I think it's hard to expect a quality performance every game, but I think it's very important that United get points, because at the moment Liverpool are a team which are capable of going on a big run. Whether United are, we'll have to wait and see. But January is also coming up. There's a very interesting question from Mugesh here. So he's saying whether United could do some business and whether that will help them put up a proper title. And I actually agree. I think United are a team at the moment, with the board and the structure we have. We can't go and organize title runs like someone like Chelsea. Chelsea could spend a number of, I mean, could plan for a number of windows, buy these players, and then go on a title charge. But I think with United, we need some sort of a freak season, honestly, to go in and win a title, because at the moment we are not set up to win a title at the board level. But if United could use this opportunity and think that, okay, this is a one-off season where teams all around are dropping points, and this is a situation we can definitely capitalize. Maybe if United go and get a couple of players, or even one player who could genuinely slot into the first 11 immediately, I think it should be a centre back. I think centre back is where United are clearly lacking in terms of, let's say, complementary, because Lindelof and Maguire are very similar players, two guys who are decent on the ball, have got qualities on the ball, but then there are issues whether they'd be exploited by pace. We've seen that over a number of times, and so I think it's interesting to see whether United think in that way, because I lost hope when it comes to United, but I don't know if they will be thinking in that manner where they'll think about, okay, let's look at it as one off season where we could go and push for the title. But I'm not sure. I don't have belief in the United board going and doing that. So we'll have to obviously wait and see. There's also a question about Pelistri from R7. I mean, he's playing the under 23 games. I don't know what. I don't expect him to play in the first team anytime soon. I think he's a very young kid, and he's much more of a guy who will be used in the future. I think even with Diallo, who's arriving in January, I think it's a case for both of them to play with the under 23s and in the Premier League 2 games for the moment, because I think they're not ready. Maybe you might see them in the Europa League, probably some round. You may see them on the bench for a couple of games here and there, but I think largely it'll be a very at least for the season, I think it'll be very surprising to see any of them play a consistent number of games. So I think it is what we have in terms of attack, but it's in defense is where we'll have to see whether we can get in some additions. So Shreyas, what do you? There's also another thing about defensive midfielder from Ecuador. I saw it today morning and I did, but I'm not sure whether it's reliable.
Yeah, Moises Caicedo.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was seeing the YouTube compilation as usual. When any player is linked to United, I go to YouTube, and yeah, he looks a really good box to box to play midfielder, and Yeah, I think, but you can't rely on such players, right? You of course need a solid DM as of now. So these, uh, I mean, what to say? They're trying out a lot of things. I don't know if it will work, and you can only gamble that much, right? I mean, you need to get a solid CDM ASAP,
Yeah,
preferably in
I think
January.
Matic is getting slow, and I think
Uh,
there's as that's a place where we could
McTominay is
confidently
not
go with a
really good
quality
this year.
midfielder. Exactly. Next, we'll be talking about Chelsea against West Ham. So Chelsea are obviously we've got a Chelsea fan in the house also. They're obviously coming off a week where Chelsea have lost two games. They lost to Everton 1-0. They lost to West Ham 2-1 with late winner from Pedro Neto. From just a week ago, there was a lot of talk about title challenges. There's a lot of talk about Lampard going on this amazing run. Lampard taking Chelsea to promised land, but Chelsea fans are clearly not happy at the moment. They a lot of question marks over Lampard's tactics, a lot of question marks over the players, whether the players are playing in the right position. Some of their big name signings they've not lived up to the expectations so far. So Ashwin, so what do you make of this game, and what really is your thoughts on the past week where Chelsea managed to lose two games away from home?
Before I start about the Chelsea game, it is interesting to see how you conveniently didn't ask me about the United game, and it's happy to see these two United fans excited and go on about for a long time. The last time we did a PL video, none of them showed up because it was after the PSG game. So I'm really happy to see that after a couple of wins, United are very excited and talking about title challenge. Just a short point on United's run. Yeah, United are well placed at the points table, but one thing I see a problem with respect to United is to to mount a title challenge. I think you need to have a proper system, and I'm not sure like how
Yeah,
United they play each game differently, and I don't think that is a sustainable way
I agree.
to go on a run and mount a title challenge. That is perhaps the one thing that I see as a problem for United. If they sort it out and they find a system and they find the player. I think that is one of the problems why United aren't able to go sign players in the window because they're not sure like the players they sign where do they fit in. So I think United, if they find a system before the window, I think they can clearly know like which player they want and they can do the business and that will help them in the challenge. Well, coming on to the Chelsea game, yeah, it has been very disappointing these past two games. We have been on a very good run and this couple of losses has been very disappointing. The more so the losses, the way in which we lost was something that is, being questioned because if you see, like we have not been in the past, we have not been short of goals. Like we have always scored goals. It was the defense that was the problem. We have fixed up the defense this season, but we did the lack of creativity that was there in these two games was very disappointing. Without Hakim Ziyech, I think like we are struggling to create much. Our only hope is to overload the flanks and just hope that one cross reaches the road and we get a goal. I don't think that is good enough. That is not the point that we were selling. Even if you see after that Sevilla game, there were a lot of Chelsea fans who were going on and on about the squad depth and I was also hopeful. I was happy that we have these many players who can fit in the system and play. Even if one or two players are injured, like we can put up the performance. But clearly, with the evidence in the last two games, we are overly dependent on some players. I think the problem we need to fix because uh, we are getting regular injuries, and with this season being so congested, we can't really rely on our wingers both being very injury prone. So that is a big problem, and this game would be a huge challenge for Frank Lampard. I would say I go on to say that this is a must-win game for us now.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
I have a question. Like
yeah.
you told that United, they don't have a system. Like, yeah, it's true, but Chelsea, even when the injuries are there, I don't think they have a system either. One
I
game,
mean,
Werner plays,
I mean, like
one, Werner
we
plays on the left
yeah,
wing,
yeah,
and the other game he plays on the striker.
let me answer that. By system, I know we know which formation we are going to play and who are the players who are going to play where. Uh, that was we play regular. I mean, it was initially we played with the 4-2-3-1, but after I think in the Krasnodar game we switched to 4-3-3, and that's what we've been playing since then. And Lampard has been pretty clear in that. He hasn't tweaked the formation much, which is a problem. We can't go into every game playing the same way. But I think we have a general system that the way in which we approach the games. The only problem I see in the last two games is the lack of creativity that we had in the right hand side when Hakim Ziyech was playing. But I don't see like I know like what Chelsea are going to like, you know how Chelsea are going to set up and
Yeah.
how they are going to play. That was what I was saying. Like United don't have a fixed formation or like the players they don't have any fixed positions as of now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is with Chelsea, it's more a case of finding a team which will stick. More case of finding a first 11 around which you can go on a ground of games. I think there are question marks over whether Pulisic should play on the left, whether Werner should be playing as a striker, whether Mount and Havertz can fit in a team, and if you try to fit in both of them, whether your defensive stability is lost. So I think there are a few question marks for Lampard to answer for sure. I mean, the fact that Roman Abramovich has gone and spent 200 plus million in a single transfer window, I think Lampard's definitely under pressure after two games. I think, especially at home, Chelsea will expect to win. I mean, it's pretty much a must-win game right now because if you if Chelsea end up losing this game, also the pressure will get too much, and I think there will be serious question marks over Lampard. Obviously, not going to get sacked immediately, but it's more of a question of whether he'll be able to handle the pressure going forward. So, Ashwin, taking all that into consideration, what are your predictions for Monday's game? This game is obviously happening on Monday night.
I expect a 3-0 Chelsea win, but I have some fears. I would say, seeing the way that we played in the last two games. But like I expect if you see Chelsea, like we always one thing that we associate with Chelsea is a reaction. Whenever we lose, we have a bad game. We always expect Chelsea boys to turn up and give a reaction. I think we can expect a 3-0 or 3-1 Chelsea win.
So yeah, I think Chelsea, the players and the manager will definitely be under pressure. I personally think it will be a draw. I don't know. I don't. I think West Ham playing really well this season. I think David Moyes has found a system, a 3-4-3 system, which has ensured defensive stability as well as ensure that they've got quality going forward. The likes of Gerard Bowen, Ben Rama, even Sebastian Haller has started scoring goals. I think for
Yeah.
them it's a positive. But I think Antonio, I'm not sure whether he'll be fit to start the game. I think there are question marks over whether he'll be fit to start the game. He probably will be on the bench. But I think Haller scored an outstanding, stunning goal in the midweek game against Crystal
Yeah.
Palace. I think that'll give him confidence. So, Shreyas, what are your predictions for the game?
I mean, even if Antonio is fit, I think Fire will stop. There's no reason to drop him. He was brilliant last game. So, yeah, regarding predictions, I think Chelsea will win it. As Ashwin told, I expect them to turn up, but I don't think it will be as easy as Ashwin told. I don't think it will be a 3-0 or all. I expect a 2-1 win for Chelsea. I think West Ham will manage to score a goal. And yeah,
Fair enough. Going into the other game tonight's late night game is Everton against Arsenal. Arsenal finally stopped their losing run after four consecutive home losses. They finally got a point. They obviously lost Gabriel due to a red card again for three games. They three. So the third time they've got a player sent off in a very very short period of time. I think they'd have been very glad to get away with just a point. It could have easily been a Southampton win, especially the way they started off and Arsenal really got lucky in terms of getting away with a point. But then I think questions persist over Arsenal and Mikel Arteta because at the end of the day, while they may not be a top four team, even before the season started, maybe some Arsenal fans got overboard over FA Cup. From a sane opinion, they probably weren't ready for a top four challenge. But I think to be 15th is something no one expected. I think there has to be questions asked over Arteta whether what he promised is what he's giving. He promised a style of play which would be positive, where Arsenal would be on the front foot. But what we've seen is a team which sits back and tries to be reactive more than proactive. I think there are serious question marks over Arteta. And while their board has come out and said that Arteta is the man and Arteta is the guy who is going to uh, be be their guy going into the future, but I think how long can they wait? I mean, if Arsenal continue to lose games, they've got tough run now. They obviously got Everton away, they've got Chelsea next week, they've got Brighton after that. So I think a tough run of games in a very short period of time. So Ashwin, knowing you and knowing the fact that you really like what Arteta did in the initial part of last season. So, what do you make of this game? It's going to be a tough game against Everton, who are coming off two very very impressive wins against Chelsea and Leicester. So, how do you see this game panning out, and how much pressure do you think will be under Arteta to deliver? And if he doesn't deliver, and if they end up losing this game, what do you think could be the repercussions?
Arsenal recently have been very interesting. Like you expect a team that is down to be solid and try their level best to not make any silly mistakes. But somehow, like these three red cards, it's not have been like a forced red card. If they were a guy has been like he's played through and you had to make the tackle to save the goal. But very very silly mistakes that you expect that professional footballers don't make regularly. If given the position that Arsenal's in, I don't know how they managed to get these red cards. If you see the last three games, the Arsenal game template has been like they've been very poor to start off with in the first half, where mostly the opposition either scores or they create a lot of chances, and then they after the half time, like in the second half, they start very well. They play very well for like 10 to 15 minutes, and then someone gets sent off, and then like they're again chasing the game. So like the tactics aren't working for them, and the players aren't doing like even the basics right. So it is very tough for Arsenal right now, and Everton are coming back from two consecutive victories, and their confidence would be high, and they would see it Arsenal, and they would expect to get 3 points, and that is something which is very sad for Arsenal. So I expect an Everton win, and I don't think like this will be the last game for Arteta. I think that might be the game against Chelsea. Like if he loses this game and then again loses to Chelsea against home, then I think that will be it for
Of
Mr.
course.
Arteta.
Yeah, I think Everton, as you said, great run of form, and I also agree with your predictions that Everton will get the game, get the win. There are fans in the ground at Goodison Park, so that will make things slightly more trickier for Arsenal. And I think Ancelotti is a very, very smart manager. He'll know what needs to be done to win. He'd have noticed Arsenal's weaknesses and strengths, and I think he'll play accordingly. And I think the front two of Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be very difficult to handle. There's obviously Gabriel, who's been probably the best player this season. He's also suspended due to the red card. So I agree with your prediction of an Everton win and more misery for Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. So Shreyas, what are your predictions for the game?
Yeah, I concur with both of you. I mean, I don't think Arsenal would even compete this game. This will be an easy 10 win in my opinion. Of course, they will show passion and stuff, but they just don't have the quality, is what I feel. I mean, I've seen Arsenal fans like they really like the Arsenal because of the way they play, right? I mean, entertaining and football. It must be painful to watch for them.
I mean, there are
Like,
comments about him being the Spanish Tony Pulis. While I don't completely agree, I don't think those observations are completely off the mark either. So I think there is some sort of
The,
question
the
mark
fact
over
that
whether he.
the fact that no one is expecting Arsenal to win is a bit sad for Arsenal, because when you always like when a team goes on a losing run, you don't want to face them, because like at the end of the day, eventually things will turn around for a team. But with respect to Arsenal, I think no one is expecting them to come around the form they're in, so that is a bit disappointing as far as
Yeah,
Arsenal are
I
concerned.
mean, the fact is, we feel sad to an extent for Arsenal. You should not feel bad for a team who are technically your rivals, right? But obviously they're not rivals anymore. But the fact is, they it's just funny to watch them because the way they were confident after the FA Cup wins, whereas it was just two games, right? Two games where they were outstanding, counter-attacking masterclass, but their league form was questionable even last season. Mikel Arteta walked into the job in December and they still end up finishing eighth. Arteta was 2 points of United and ended up finishing 10 points off United when it came to the end of the season. And there are definite question marks. You can't say that Arteta has not been back in the transfer window. Obviously, he did not get what he wanted completely, but he still got a couple of really good players. And he wanted to keep the likes of David Luiz, Lacazette, Xhaka, and he was the one who got Williams. So all these Arsenal fans complaining about these players should probably know that it's their manager who thinks that these guys are good enough and these guys are the ones who should take them going forward. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see how it works. So we'll see how it goes. Going on to the next game, it's obviously another very exciting game. Spurs against Leicester. Leicester coming off a loss against Everton, and Spurs coming off a loss against Liverpool. Two teams who had a very very positive start to the season. Two teams who probably wouldn't have expected to start the season this well. I think Leicester with the Europa League, many expected them to drop points consistently, but they've maintained their form and momentum and they've been able to win games.
I think like
I think
he has a power cut. Yeah, Trace, like you can go on about the Spurs versus Leicester game.
yeah. I mean, we've seen Madison regain form as well for Leicester. If you see the last game, he played really well. So Yeah, again, Leicester, even they look like United. I mean, you don't know which Leicester turn up that day, right? I mean, one day they play really well, and one day they're not that good. So, yeah, let's see which Leicester turns up today. And regarding Spurs, yeah, actually, Mourinho nearly dropped the masterclasses with Liverpool, is what I feel. Had Bergwijn scored one of those chances, he took one of those chances he got. I mean, he could have finished that game. So, yeah, that's what I feel personally. This will be an evenly contested game, although I expect Spurs to win this game. What do you think?
Yeah, after that loss, as you said, like Spurs was very close to winning at Anfield, which has not been done for a very long time now. So I'm looking forward to the day where Liverpool loses at Anfield, and excited to see which team is the reason for it. Going into this game, I think like yeah, after that loss, I think Mourinho will be fired up for this game, and he'll have enough to beat Leicester. I expect 2-1 Spurs win.
Yeah, I
I think
just
that's
lost a
it.
little bit of connection in between. So obviously, as we said, Spurs and Leicester is definitely poised to be a very, very positive game. So what are your predictions, guys? Ashwin and Shreyas
I predict 2-1 Spurs win.
and Shreyas.
Yeah, even I concur with Ashwin. It will be a 2-1 Spurs win. Kane and Son, I think they've been brilliant, and even that finish for Son, Son looks so clinical, right? I mean, I I got some stat that he had better finishing than any other striker in the Premier League. I don't know how far true that is, but
No, that's true. That's true.
there's
He's
something
got the
like that. So
best
yeah,
conversion season.
that's brilliant. So yeah, I
Yeah,
expect
I mean,
Spurs with
it's.
2-1.
I think in some ways, Leicester will play into Spurs' hands. Spurs will. I mean, Leicester will like to dominate the game, play and take the game to Spurs, and Spurs will happily sit back and hit on the counter. What happened towards the end of last season? It's a very similar game. Leicester had all the
Yeah.
possession, but Spurs were very clinical. Showed their pace and quality in the final third on the counter attack, and I think this will be a Spurs win. I concur with both of you. So it will definitely
And
be interesting to see how it goes.
what do you think? Will Spurs win the league? I mean, the players are trusting Mourinho. That's the thing, right? I mean, he's getting nothing out of
No,
those players. I
nah.
mean,
I think league is too far for
yeah,
them. I think league. I think the problem for them is they have the Europa League also, and I think Mourinho will definitely go all out for the Europa League. I think someone like United could. I don't think United will mind throwing away the Europa League because I don't think they bother too much about it. But I think someone like Spurs will definitely go all out. I think Mourinho wants to win a trophy for Spurs because that's the major thing hanging over Spurs, right? So if he
I
feels
would
that,
be you'd be careful throwing out statements like United might throw away the Europa League. You don't know how the table would look like when
yeah, I agree with that. But I actually genuinely
that
believe
might be
that
your
United
only
will
way
not
of
go all out for the
Champions League
Europa League.
qualifications. In that case, United were
I mean,
forced to
if
take
that's
Europa
the
League
case,
against.
if we are dependent on Champions League qualification on the Europa League, I think by then I think there will be a lot going on behind the scenes in the club, and I think there possibly even could be a change in management come the end of the season. But I think that's something for now is not in plans of United. I think they're mainly focusing on the league. Obviously, a massive disappointment in the Champions League, but I think with Mourinho, he wants to win a trophy. I think more than anything he's not too bothered about finishing in the top four. I think obviously he'd rather win the Premier League, but I think the main aim for him is to win a trophy because that's something they've not done since 2008. And if he does it, it somewhat cements his legacy at Spurs because Spurs aren't a team known to win trophies, and I think that's something they genuinely love to do. So going on to the other games. Obviously, we've got a few other games which are happening over this game week. So first of all, the first game we'll be discussing about a game which is happening today. Happening tomorrow. The game is Newcastle against Fulham. What do you think will happen? What are your predictions for that, both of you?
I'm pretty impressed with the way Fulham has turned around the season. They are now looking very good. Having said that, Newcastle, I think now for a change, Joel Linton is getting goals and assists. That is a happy sight at Newcastle right now. So, like with so many proper attacking players in Newcastle, I think Fulham will have a bit too much in this game. So I expect 2-1 Newcastle.
Fair enough. And what about Shreyas? What are your predictions for that?
yeah, I think there will be goals this game, but I think Fulham will win it. As Ashwin told, I'm pretty impressed the way they play actually, and the way they turn around. They create lot of chances. I mean, and yeah, let's see. I mean, I expect a 2-1 Fulham win.
Okay, and the game happening tomorrow is Brighton against Sheffield United. What are your predictions for that, Aswin Shreyas?
As I said earlier, like when a team is on a losing run, you don't want to face them because you're not sure. Like we know like there is a win around the corner for Sheffield, and this might be the game. I think Brighton had a pretty eventless draw last game, so I expect. I mean, Sheffield came close against United. They scored 2 goals. That would be something that they of a positive
Positive.
that they take from the last game. So I expect Sheffield to finally get the 3 points that they were searching for. So I expect
Yeah, I think
Sheffield.
Yeah, I think they've been unlucky. I think they've not played as bad as to have just 1 point in 30 games. They probably continue to be in the relegation zone, but I think 1 point in 13 is just too much. And I think a win is definitely due for them. Shreyas, what are your predictions for that?
Yeah, I always felt that Sheffield United is a good coach team. So even last season, if you see, they nearly managed to sneak into top four before lockdown without uh, a good team. I mean, it's not they're not that much quality, right? I mean, Chris
They don't have
Wilder
that. Yeah.
he did a tremendous job last season, so that's why he's not sacked till now. But I don't know how long Sheffield United board will have the patience to stick with him. I think this will be the do or die game, ideally. So Christmas is also coming, so yeah, they'll look to win this game, or else it's game over for Chris Wilder. So I think it will be game over for Chris Wilder and Brighton. I think they'll win this game. Yeah. So
I think
I think
we lost
Anirudh,
Anirudh again.
yeah.
The next game I think that we want to discuss is West Brom with Aston Villa. I've heard news that West Brom recently sacked their manager and Big Sam is back. I'm not sure like it is official or not. Uh, so what do you think about that game? Aston Villa have been on a pretty good run.
Yeah, indeed, sacked. They have sacked. Who do you call Slaven Village. So now the Big Sam is back for West Brom, and I think there will be a bounce for West Brom. So I think they'll at least compete, if not win this game. So I predict 1-1 draw. I think with Sam Allardyce in the mix, there'll surely be a bounce. And with the way even Grealish plays, I mean, it's particularly unavoidable. They've been very unlucky for not scoring last game. So yeah, 1-1
Uh,
draw is my prediction.
I personally think it's too early for Sam to get a result out of this West Brom team against Aston Villa have been very good. So I expect Villa win. Anirudh, what are your thoughts on the West Brom with Aston Villa game?
Yeah, I actually agree with what you said. I think Aston will have a lot of quality. I think Grealish, Grealish, Ollie Watkins, all these guys. I don't know how fit Ross Barkley is to play this game, but I think even the last game, they were very unlucky not to get the win against Burnley. They played really well. They had a lot of chances. They just couldn't convert their chances. I think this will be the game where they'll get the win. And I think someone like Jack Grealish could genuinely show his quality once again. I think that'll be the case when it comes to the game. I think we've got one final game to discuss. Burnley against Wolves. Wolves obviously will be very happy that they got the win against Chelsea. Without Raul Jimenez, their style of play obviously is massively affected. They depend a lot on a target man, having guys around him, and then building play around him. But in his absence, I think that's something they've to find a way around. And the fact that they got a win against Chelsea would definitely give them confidence. So, what do you guys make of that game, and what are your predictions for Wolves against Burnley?
I personally think like Burnley after a very poor start are now getting into the groove. We see a lot of nil-nils and hard-fought victories from Burnley, what we are used to expect. I think it'll be a very close game. Goals will be hard to come by. So like you need like brilliance from Podence or Neto as you saw in the Chelsea game to get a goal out of this game. So I expect it to be another nil-nil game, another hard-earned point for Sean Dyche, who will eventually keep his team out of the relegation.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with what Ashwin says. So even though Aston Villa they look like creating a lot of chances. Nick Pope was fantastic when it comes to stopping the goals which are on target. I mean, I think personally on form he is the best keeper in the Premier League right now. So yeah, I expect again a nil-nil draw for this game.
Yeah, I think it's one of those games which probably will not turn out to be one of the great watches, but we'll just have to wait and see. So with that, we've come to the end of the show. We've predicted all the games. I think the Liverpool game will kick off in less than just an hour. So I think hopefully it'll be a very exciting
Playing
game.
11 is out, right? I mean,
Come again?
playing 11 is out, right?
I think it should have been out by now. So
Salah playing.
I think Salah is benched for this game. I just saw the lineup, so that is a
Oh
big
my God!
problem for all the FPL players. Minamino is starting ahead of Salah.
uh,
Let me see if Salah. Yeah, Salah is on the bench for this game. So does that change our prediction for this game? It is an interesting point with Salah not playing, and I think yeah, without that the team is pretty much the same. We have the Matip, Robertson, Fabinho, Trent as the back four, Wijnaldum, Keita, and Anderson in the midfield. So Minamino starts ahead of Salah. So
Yeah,
that is
thanks, first of all.
news and
So
bit of
yeah,
news for FPL managers.
I hope he comes off the bench. But anyway, I've got Dallas in the bench, so I think he takes the corners, isn't it, for Leeds? No,
I I
Alias
think
Kit. I don't know.
I think
Because
he takes
we,
corners on one side.
we will surely concede one goal of a corner. That's a given for Manchester United. So let's see. That
correct.
might change my prediction actually, right? I mean, Salah it's a big impact for Liverpool. I don't know why he's benched again. He plays useless games in
So
the
maybe my
Champions.
Crystal
I
Palace.
don't know why he's benched. Yeah,
Hopefully it does.
yeah.
All right. So with that, we've come to the end of the show. We've wrapped up and we've discussed about all the 10 games of this game week. We've had a very, very interesting chat, a lot of questions, and I hope you guys really enjoyed the show. We've got a lot more content lined up across sports, cricket, and football. So I hope you guys please do like, share, subscribe to our channel. Share it around. Please share it around to your friends who love sports. We've got a lot of content lined up, and we may even include one of you guys to come on our future shows. So we'll look to keep innovating, and I hope you guys enjoy what we've done today. So please stay tuned and thanks a lot, guys. And thanks a lot to Shreyas and Ashwin for taking out time. And thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
I hope you enjoyed this.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.